Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the third episode of A Gentleman's Guide for Dummies. I'm your co-host, Ante, and I'm here with the other co-host, Aaron.
What's
how you
up,
doing today?
everyone? Good morning, Ante. How are you?
Good. How was your morning today?
It's been good. It's been good. I mean, it's freezing balls, but it's a great morning.
Oh my God, I was just about to make a joke. I was gonna be like, "This is spring weather."
I
This is
mean,
lovely. I walked out of my house. I was gonna unbutton my shirt.
I was gonna go get a nice Brazilian tan.
Oh
You know.
my God, dude, I hate this. I really, it just makes me more and more aggravated as the days go by because it gets colder and colder.
Yeah, it's just a big fuck you. That's all it is.
I'm bundled up. It's like a snowman. I have on sweats underneath my pants. I have 2 pairs of socks. Okay, I have undershirt, t-shirt, long sleeve shirt, and my hoodie. I'm burning up in here, but I don't regret it whatsoever because it's so cold outside.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't blame you. It's one of those days where when you look outside, you just want to go back to sleep. I don't want to be.
I had trouble getting up this morning. I was dizzy this morning.
Yeah.
I woke up like dizzy. I don't know why. I guess I was just so tense from the cold or whatever it is, but it's a good thing I got over it. Thank God. But,
I'm never cold when I wake up because it's fucking heater behind
yeah,
me.
your
It's
furnace
always
is right next to it.
blazing.
You
like
can cuddle with
100%.
it if you wanted to.
I'd rather not. You should try. It'll singe you. You'll be like that snowman in the commercial with the Doritos when he eats that shit and he melts.
Oh my God, yeah, the one worth it. Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean it's crazy. I know what you mean. Now today though, definitely our big topic today is for all you 90s people out there. You 90s kids that grew up in the 90s, people that were born in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've had older siblings also that used to put you on to these different shows and different things. We just want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the last great decade, as I like to call it. When you think about, like, I always have like days where it doesn't happen often, but you have days where you like to reminisce.
Of course.
Nostalgic and stuff like that. You see something on TV, you're like, oh, I missed that decade.
Yeah.
But
they always have that, like, you ever see like the funniest thing that I've seen in like the shows that we watch and like the shows that we grew up watching.
Yeah.
You ever notice how now they're always rebooting the fucking shows from the 90s to bring them back into now?
And it's not the same.
It's not.
It's not
no.
the same feeling. I feel like it's I feel like it just should have. Sometimes when you get a little too nostalgic, you want it to be brought back, but then you realize the whole charm of it was because of how original it was.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you just kind of want to leave it alone. Even some movies that are brought back.
Definitely.
You kind of have this expectation. You're like, oh, I'm so excited, and then you watch it. It's kind of like, it has a more modern twist to it.
Yeah.
And so it kind of falls flat.
True. Yeah. And not only that, but also, I know this was like a show that my brother used to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know if like they rebought it back. DuckTales. I know that was more kind of in the
My sister used to watch that.
80s to early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah. She used to watch that. Yeah.
It was still in there. And the thing is though, that's a reboot that's done right. I actually like the new DuckTales.
What channel is it on? Is it on?
They did it on Disney XD. Now they do it on Disney.
Okay.
I catch it here and there. Like I was more into it like the first season. Then I'm like now I'm busy, so I can never really watch it. But I mean the beauty about it is that Disney, like the Disney Channel, from what I've seen, it seems like they do a lot of Saturday morning cartoons, and that's what lacks nowadays. There is not enough Saturday morning.
I miss that. I miss those days, dude.
I do too. Yeah.
Like CW11.
Yes.
Remember Static Shock?
Oh,
that Batman show with the
Batman Beyond.
Beyond.
That was my show. That was one show that I could watch and never get bored.
The Spider-Man one. Oh my God, I'm a huge fan of that.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Is it Spectacular Spider-Man?
Spectacular
the 90s
Spider-Man.
version.
The animated series.
The animated series, yeah. That I was a huge fan of. But,
and even do you remember the Zeta Project? That was a good one.
No, I don't remember
that was that robot that used to be able to change forms to different people. He would it was on during the same time as Batman Beyond.
It was on CW11?
It was on Kids WB. Yeah, it was.
Kids. Okay.
It was during. You know when it was? It was during the time where like they had crossovers. It was between the Zeta Project and you also had Batman Beyond crossover with him.
Yeah. See, that I don't remember.
Yeah.
Probably my sister probably remembers that. She was more into like the Saturday morning like shows more than I was. I kind of stuck with the standard ones, but I miss those days, dude.
No, I do too, and not only that, but it's like those days were kind of early 2000s. Like the early, like the late
90s, early 2000s. Yeah, that's like what we grew up on.
I mean, we grew up also. Do you remember Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh? That was huge. Oh my god! Like I mean, I was obsessed with Pokemon, but I never played the game because the fucking card game was ridiculously hard to play. Like I had no idea what you had to do.
I remember I
no idea.
I cried and complained so my dad can buy me one. Like, you know, in those like Chinese discount stores.
Yeah, the one on.
Yeah, and I got so happy. I used to carry around that deck everywhere. I was obsessed.
Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh though?
It was Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think I had Pokemon cards, but to be honest, I think Yu-Gi-Oh.
Played them.
No one knew what the hell was supposed to happen with those cards.
At least speaking for myself and you,
I had no clue.
I had
absolutely no clue. I just saw Charizard and Squirrel, and I was like, okay, I'm good.
I'm good to go.
I'm good to go.
Matt used to have Mewtwo, and I always tried to like swindle it out of him, but obviously he's older, so like he always knew my shit. He's like, no. But
I remember I got so disappointed with the whole Yu-Gi-Oh thing.
Why?
It depressed me. I remember I was so excited to like duel. You know, when you bring friends over, I want to have my first duel. Yeah. And I brought my friend over thinking I'm gonna school the shit out of him.
Oh.
In my own home, he just wrecked me. So disappointed. At one point, we didn't even finish the game. I just got up, threw the cards, left. He was sitting by himself in my room. I was like, yeah, get up.
No, I had the
never played Yu-Gi-Oh ever again. I think I threw my cards out after that. I was like,
you were that disgruntled. Like...
I was like, bro, shame to the family. I don't want to see you ever again. Threw the 52 cards just away.
You talk to your father, and he's just like, listen, you're never gonna be allowed back in here until you start beating the shit out of people in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I just started training every single day
to get better. It's just I know what you mean.
No, but speaking about those Yu-Gi-Oh things, you know that they still have like those competitions, like grown men, not kids, not like 5, 6, 7-year-olds, grown ass men. They have competitions to battle each other, and I'm thinking, what the hell's going on?
Exactly.
You really have nothing better to do? You're not 7 years old. You know?
I mean, there's a lot. There's competitive Pokemon playing, and there's competitive. I've never played this game, but I've heard it's pretty similar to Yu-Gi-Oh. Magic the Gathering. I've never played it. I've heard a lot of people always talk about it.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah. It's the same. It's
Magic the Gathering.
It's a game apparently people play. Again, I've never played it. The most I've played was Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
But I've never played Magic. No, there's competitions out there. There's still, you know what's still going on, right? From like the 90s,
what?
Which I think. I know to get off topic here, but it's a little. Speaking of what's still happening.
What?
It's crazy to think that Power Rangers are still going on.
Oh my god, I was gonna bring that up.
The Power Rangers so you had Mighty Morphin back in the day.
Let me tell you something. The Power Rangers from the 90s, fantastic.
Oh, excellent! Yeah,
phenomenal.
That was like a work of Mozart.
Yeah. I remember I had like those VHS tapes.
Oh yeah.
I was obsessed with. I forgot what the name of it was, but I would watch it all the time. Pokemon, the Power Rangers, but
they just kept Mighty Morphin.
Yeah,
Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, Mighty Morphin. Yeah.
Oh, that was
that freaking theme song.
Oh,
it was played by a heavy metal band.
Then you had the Green Ranger come in. Remember?
I don't remember when the Green Ranger came.
Yeah.
When the hell did he come in?
Well, he was in because I watched a lot of the repeats because obviously I wasn't around for most of it. I was born, obviously in the mid 90s, But no, I remember like it was still on during the time that I was born, but it was kind of the shittier Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
A lot of people changed. So the Green Ranger came in like 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like straight up like again, I was always a fan. I was always a Jason fan. I was always a fan of Jason, the Red Ranger.
Oh, the Red Ranger.
Yeah, Matt was always
the Blue Ranger irritated the crap out of me.
David Yost
with the glasses.
With the glasses.
I'm not sure I sound like a dick, but he was a little too nerdy.
Yeah,
kind of wanted to hit a punchable face.
Did you ever notice the Black Ranger, Zach? You ever notice he only had a couple fingers? He had a couple fingers missing. You ever notice that?
Like the actor or the
actual
character
actor
itself? Like
the
they
actor
made him
had no He had no ring finger. I think
Why?
It was the
what the hell was he doing?
An accident, or he was born that way. But if you ever notice, he always clenches that hand to make it into a fist, so he can never show it.
Okay.
But if you pay close attention, you can see his hand. But no, I remember like when I was always like a Jason fan just because Jason was the leader, and then they bring in the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Green Ranger's the coolest Ranger ever. I mean, he had the most badass Zord.
I can't.
The Dragon Zord.
Can't agree with you because I have no idea who the Green Ranger was.
You don't.
I think I stopped watching around that time. I remember the red, blue, pink, yellow.
The pink was like.
Which, by the way, there were a little bit racist hints in the show. I mean, at one point there was an Asian
Yellow Ranger.
Yellow Ranger.
No, okay.
What are the odds of that?
Here's the thing. Do you ever notice?
Wasn't the Black Ranger also African American at one point? Yeah,
he was black.
Am I pushing it?
He was black. No. He was.
Come on. I like how no one said a word about that. They were just like, yeah, perfectly fine.
It was the 90s.
It was the 90s. Yeah.
You got to remember something also. It was the fact that you ever notice also that because in the Japanese version of Power Rangers, like I think it's called Super Sentai or some shit like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Yellow Ranger, you ever notice because the Pink Ranger, she has a skirt, right? To clarify, she's a girl.
When the hell was she wearing a skirt?
Are we talking about the same Power Rangers here? Because I feel like we're really off.
The 90s one. The one that the Pink Ranger was like... Who
was that really hot?
Everyone
Amy Jo Johnson, Kimberly?
Yeah, Kimberly, yeah. Oh. She didn't wear a skirt.
No, she did. Her Power Rangers outfit was a skirt.
I thought she was wearing that latex outfit that they all wear.
Look, hold on. I'm going to bring it up right now as the Pink Ranger. I'm just typing it in my phone to show him. But... Look, you ever notice, so you see, she has that.
Oh, so it's kind of like now I know what you're talking about. That I never noticed.
Yeah, by the way, her and Kelly Kapowski, I feel like it was every boy's wet dream in the 90s.
Who's Kelly Kapowski?
From Saved by the Bell.
Is that the one that was in...
The one that married Zach.
Oh, okay, the brunette.
Yeah, the brunette.
What was her name in real life again?
She
was...
Yeah, you were going to... Yeah, let me...
You know who my celebrity crush was? My 90s crush was?
Who?
Topanga from Boy Meets World.
Oh yeah, Danielle Fishel.
Something about her. You know she's Maltese.
I know.
I found out randomly. I was like, because I think she had a dog that was Maltese. It was in an interview. She's like, "Oh, my dog's Maltese, just like I am." I was like, "Oh, okay. I gotta tell this to Aaron."
There's a lot of those that you don't know are Maltese. You know Jason Bateman.
Really?
He's part Maltese. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's we're a rare breed, but there's a few of us that made it pretty big. You know. Let me see. I'm gonna bring up my celebrity crush in the 90s. It had. I had a few.
Were you a fan of Summer Sanders?
I thought she was pretty. Matt was a huge fan of Summer Sanders.
I know, a lot of people crushed on her crazy. She wasn't bad, but I wouldn't put her in the top 5.
No. Did you know who got really hot?
Who?
You remember All That, but the original cast of All That? The original...
I can't remember it completely, though.
Okay. There was one girl. Her name was Katrina Johnson. She was the small girl. She used to play Roseanne a lot. She also played that dude with the big ears. He was a politician. Something Perot. I can't think of his name.
I'm gonna have to ask my sister.
Let me show you.
I wasn't too into all of that. I wasn't all that into all that.
Yeah.
No, I really, that was one of the shows I didn't. Remember Kenan and Kel?
Oh, that was my show. I loved Kenan and Kel.
Oh my god! Speaking about remember Afraid of the Dark?
Are you afraid of the dark? Hell yeah!
That was my fucking show.
Let me show you. I did enjoy Are You Afraid of the Dark? I thought the original cast though, I always want when we used to watch that, Matt always used to tell me that he always wanted to do a midnight society where we could sit about a campfire. Yeah. The biggest hint, the biggest mystery on say, because back in the day you always thought of different things, right? Kids in the 90s and early 2000s people who watched the mid 90s early 2000s who watched those shows because of their older, so if you had or if you just happened to stumble upon it. I think the biggest question on Are You Afraid of the Dark was what was the thing they would take out of the bag to throw on the fire, and the fire would go whoosh.
I had no clue.
You know what it was? I found out. I typed it in because Google's your friend nowadays. It was heavy cream.
Heavy cream?
Dried up heavy cream. Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Anything to do with a campfire? Who brings heavy cream to a campfire?
I guess
Don't you think marshmallows? Make some s'mores.
Well, it was heavy cream.
Leave it to a bunch of white kids to be like, let's bring heavy cream.
That is true. And then you had that you had the African American tomboy, the black girl. She was straight up
she brought the best fucking treats.
And then you had that. Then you had the group. You had the nerd in the group too.
It was the stereotypical. It was the stereotypical 90s setup. It was 90% were all fucking white kids. You always had that one black kid.
Yeah.
And then you had a nerd. You had the slutty girl and the jock.
Yeah.
You every 90s, whether it's a comedy show, movie, horror, they all had the same idea to them.
All the time. And, by the way,
I got bored of it either.
By the way, I wanted to show you who Katrina Johnson was.
Okay.
Katrina Johnson was this girl on All That. She was
now I know who you're talking about.
She was
Is this her now?
Oh yeah. By the way, I want to show you a then and now.
Are they fake? Because they look fake.
Yeah, her breasts are fake.
She looks beautiful. Dude.
She is. Yeah, she is beautiful. She is bad. Like I would if I knew she was gonna turn out to that, I would go back to the 90s and date her just to be like, yo.
Forget the 90s. I date her now.
Oh no.
How old is she?
Oh no, she's like, I think she's in her 30s now, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Tell you right now.
Yeah.
She's straight. Yeah, she looks.
Does she have an Instagram? Because I'm about to follow her.
I'll find. I remember her. It's she was born in '82, so she's older than Matt by 2 years. So Matt's 35, so she's 37.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, she looks that good. Christ. She was on some like Playboy show on like HBO. I think because I remember. Wait.
You mean like after hours softcore?
Yeah, like kind of like Skinamax, but she never did anything like.
That's disappointing.
You know, she never did anything.
My day. I got so excited and you just brought me right back.
I think she got nude a few times. I don't know because I looked her up because I was like, what happened to the cast? I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna make an effort. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna make sure
she's still active. Yeah.
If she's active, hell yeah.
But what we're going to... Oh, yeah. So, what was your favorite episode of... Now, I know, switching back to the topic. What was your favorite episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Don't quote me on it. The board game. Do you remember the board game where every time it was like something would happen to the guy in the woods?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Every time they would someone would take a turn, something would start chasing him or something bad would happen.
Yeah. That was the.
I have it's not such a vivid memory of it, but that I remember that episode stuck out. Something started chasing him throughout the woods and stuff like that. And as a kid, I was like, "Oh my god!"
My favorite, and I think this was a lot of kids' favorites. I know it was Matt's favorite episode.
Yeah.
Was it Tale of the Forever Game? Was that the one?
Could be. I can't remember that the show went off the air like 20 years ago.
I mean,
it's so disappointed. The shows that you would actually want to watch go off the air so quick.
Oh, all the time. That's the premise of it, just in case to see. I wanted to let you know my favorite episode.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, if you want to hold the phone like this, it should come back. Yeah. My favorite episode of it was definitely, and I think a lot of kids were scared of this one, Tale of Laughing in the Dark. That was the episode where the kids... There was like that weird ginger kid who was like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Just because for some reason they portrayed 90s kids portrayed.
Yeah, ginger kids have no souls. I feel.
Yeah. By the way, side note, I don't like Danny Tamborelli. I can't stand that guy.
Who's Danny Tamborelli?
He was on The Adventures of
Pete. I'm having a tough time remembering anything. I should have done my research going into this topic. Who's this? Who's that?
That ginger guy he took over from all that, but he was on that show, The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
I think I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, he looks god awful now.
I don't know their names, but when you show me a picture, I go, oh, no.
He was also Fat Cop on all that. I forgot his name.
Okay, that's all you have to say.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Like this guy,
I remember that character.
I fucking hate.
Why?
For some reason, I always thought he was not funny.
Okay.
I just want to sock him in the mouth. I don't know why.
Well, think of it this way: you don't find him funny, but someone did. That's why he had a career doing what he did.
Yeah, but now he looks like he kind of ate the cast of all that. I mean,
he probably did. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I'm not trying to judge the guy, but
no. But going back to
get a haircut. I think he needs a haircut.
He definitely needs a haircut. But going back to Are You Afraid of the Dark? Tale of Laughing in the Dark. It was about that kid who was the ginger kid.
Okay.
Who was he was kind of an asshole to his friends. It was two people. It was like a girl. It was the sister and her brother.
All right.
So what happens in the episode? They're at some playland, mind you. Okay, I get it. There's horror rides at a place.
Obviously, yeah. That's just
like you go to
amusement
Six
park
Flags.
in general. Yeah, there's always those
park.
Yeah,
always those
rides
Yeah. So this one, mind you, this is the premise of this episode was the guy. There was a ride called Tale of Laughing in the Dark.
Okay.
It was it was just called Laughing in the Dark. It was a ride. It was a fun house. Okay. So the lore of the funhouse was that there was a clown named Zebo who died in the funhouse because he lit a cigar in the funhouse hiding from cops, and the cigar caught on fire. They rebuilt the amusement park ride on the same place that he died.
Okay.
So, mind you, that's pretty fucking grim already. But so what happens is in the episode, the ginger kid gets dared by the guy his friend that he's picking on. The kid dares him. He's like, "Yo, listen, I think the kid's name is Ouija, the normal kid."
Okay.
The ginger kid's not fucking normal, but I apologize for anybody that's ginger out there. You're all beautiful your own way, but
no one's listening to this anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But the ginger kid's name, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But he was Yeah. So what happened was, in the episode, the kid Ouija dares the redheaded kid to go into the play area and steal Zeebo's nose.
Okay.
Because there's a Zeebo in like the ride at the end. If you pick the wrong door, he's there. So what happens is he goes in, he starts getting scared a little bit. He has to go in alone, by the way, the redhead kid.
Okay.
He goes in, he goes now he gets to the final place, and now like while he's walking through, there's a fun mirror that he looks into, and obviously it's misshaping his body.
Yeah.
He says like, "Who are you looking at? What am I, some kind of clown?" I think that's what's quoted. And for some reason Zeebo pops up on the screen. And he quotes the same thing that the kid said.
Mm-hmm.
So now he gets to the last thing. He opens the door. Because now there's doors. It was like, I still remember the quote too. It's like, pick the wrong door and you'll go free. Pick the wrong door and then he'll be.
Okay.
So he goes through. He opens one of the doors. I think it was door number 8, and Zeebo pops out. It's a wax figurine.
Oh.
So kid gets scared. He's like, like starts screaming, whatever. He closes the door, and he goes and he picks the right door, and he goes, "I'm getting out of here." But he goes, "Wait, if I don't bring back the nose, I'm screwed." So he goes back, grabs Zeebo's nose, and he gets out. And now part of that bet, now the regular kid, that kid Luigi, Ouija or whatever the hell his name was, he has to wear the nose for a week to school.
Okay.
Okay. So then he's getting the kid now the.
Such a 90s like theme. It's always like, "Oh, I bet you do this and that if you don't."
Yeah, but, and no, I know what you mean. It's not only that, but also like what happens is now the kid is like, "Okay, you won. Stop picking on me." He throws the nose. So now the
Zeebo comes and gets his nose. "Why the fuck are you throwing my nose?" He starts beating the shit out of all the kids.
No,
I would have loved to watch that episode.
Close. So now the redhead kid goes up to pick up the nose. He starts smelling cigars.
Okay.
So the kid goes, "Cigar." So he walks back in. Now, it's like you never see Zeebo in this fucking episode. Like the live Zeebo. You see smoke come from behind the kid's house.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And you hear like a like laugh.
Of course he does.
So the kid goes home.
Was he fat? Was the
kid?
No, but the clown. But was the kid fat too?
No, the kid was normal.
Okay.
No, he so like the kid goes into his house, and now he's kind of on edge because he's at the house. He's at the house alone. His parents left him alone to go to like some opera. Yeah, mind you, the fucking 90s was that you couldn't leave your kid alone without getting child services called on you.
Yeah, I know.
So what happens is, so he goes in. All of a sudden, weird shit starts happening. He picks up like the bat. He puts in. Now he's getting nervous because he starts hearing noises. So he starts putting like an excessive amount of forks and fucking knives on his plate because he has dinner warming up. So he grabs the dinner. He puts it in the microwave, and he has pudding. Chocolate pudding.
Okay, of course he does.
So the phone rings. The kid goes, he drops the chocolate pudding on the floor. It was that kid, the kid Ouija calling him. And it's like, "Yo, sorry, I was being such a douche. I'll wear the nose." He goes, "Listen, man, I was hard on you, but tell you what, I'll only make you wear the nose one day for the whatever."
Okay.
All of a sudden, he goes, he's just like straight up like. The kid goes, "No, I was hoping you forget about it, blah, 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 whatever."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, somebody picks up the phone. Now, all of a sudden, something happens. I forgot what happens, but now the kid goes back into the... he hangs up. He goes to go get his dinner, and he opens up the microwave, and it stinks.
Like cigars?
Like cigars. So he opens up the plate. It was meatloaf. It's cigars just put in the fucking plate.
Of course.
So now the kid freaks out. He drops it, and he runs up the stairs. Mind you, again, he dropped the pudding. Now there's a huge... footprint with a Z in the pudding.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He runs upstairs, locks his door, and he's just there. And all of a sudden, the phone rings again, and he calls that kid Ouija. Because what happened was he had received a phone call saying, "Give it back." So, like, he calls Ouija, and he's like, "Oh, did you just call me, or did your sister just call me, prank calling me to pretend you were Zeebo?" And he goes, No, I didn't. I only, what are you talking about? He goes, "You sound scared."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the phone picks up, and he goes, "Is that you?" He tells like the sister. I forgot the sister's name.
Yeah.
Of the kid of the Ouija.
Okay.
So and the kid Ouija goes, "No, dude, we only have one phone." And he goes, all of a sudden he goes, "It must be from your house. It's from downstairs. It's Zeebo going, if you don't come and give it back, I'm gonna come upstairs and take it."
Oh, okay.
So here's the problem. Here's my gripe that I have with this episode. So now he locks the door. Now Zeebo's trying to open. Again, you don't see Zeebo at all. A balloon comes from under the door. It blows up, and it says, "Give it back." It pops. Now this kid jumps out the window from his room.
Yeah.
With the nose.
Why didn't he just Okay, forget it. I'm over it. But just fucking throw it out open the door, throw it out, close the door, deal with it. Like,
because again, it has to further the plot, and that's
of course it does.
So anyway, the kid jumps out.
Side note though. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like if realistically speaking, if any one of us were ever in that scenario, let's say hypothetically speaking, this was a real thing. You cannot make an entire episode about this. It wouldn't last 5 minutes. No. You take the fucking nose. You hear, give it back. I'd throw it away. I'd be like, I'm not dealing with this. Move, please, for the love of God.
Yeah. But, no, but then the kid. Now, this is where my gripe comes in this episode. I still question it as of today. He jumps out the window. He takes the nose back to Zebo. But now when he opens the door, the fucking wax figurine is not there. What happens is, oh, by the way, in the beginning of the episode, I'm sorry, I didn't question this. There's a guy. He's like a carny there. Okay. Tells him about the ride. About the ride, blah, 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 whatever. Big fat guy, bald, older.
Of course. Dude.
So now he goes back into the kid, the redheaded kid goes back into the funhouse, opens Zebo's door. Now Zebo's wax figurine ain't there. Puts the nose on the counter, and he goes, "Here, man, here's your nose back. By the way, just to show there's no hard feelings, I got you cigars." The kid is 15. Where the fuck did the cigars come from? Because I would love to know.
Aaron, this is the 90's.
You could buy cigars in the 90's.
No, just people weren't paying attention to details like this. That's a different. There are so many plot holes when you watch like 90's like movies and shows. It's entertaining, but if you really analyze it, there's so many things that don't make sense.
True.
They'll skip an entire thing, like how did this person get here from here in such a small amount of time? How did he get this? How did this happen? No one even bats an eyelash.
No, I know. That's
it's
true.
It's like, just like, it's the 90's, so it's like, whatever.
No, at the end, the kid runs out.
Yeah.
And turns out all along, the carny was Zebo. Because he has the cigars, he's smoking, he looks up, and he starts laughing with his creepy fucking pedo laugh.
I knew Zebo was fat. I had a feeling. I had a feeling he was fat.
I mean, he did look like a diddler in the picture that they showed, because they showed, like, the reason they found out that Zebo died in the amusement park is for some reason, the internet worked pretty well in the episode. So, like, the internet was kind of new, so it was kind of...
Oh, yeah, it was like the late 90's.
Actually, I don't know. Was it the internet they found it on, or what? It might have been newspaper from back in the day. I don't know.
Okay.
But... yeah, so, like, it's just to show, like, that's my favorite episode. I always thought, because I hate clowns. I have a fear of clowns.
I don't know. Those are one of those fears that I never really understood. I'm not really afraid of clowns. I never understood why. Like, people have this effect. Like, for example, you just said you're afraid of... I don't understand what the whole big deal is.
They're just creepy, and also, like, John Wayne Gacy was a clown.
Okay, but that's a completely different story. He was a serial killer who just dressed as one, I guess, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he liked to play with boys. I mean, that's...
well, that's completely separate from
he's a sick son of a bitch. Yeah. And ever since then, I think that's where a lot of the fear came in from, with these people that have fear of clowns.
Well, that kind of...
I mean, there's a lot of fears. There's, like... you ever hear of fear of holes? That's a real fear.
Oh, wasn't it like triskaidekaphobia? Don't quote me. I'm just
stupid. Yeah.
My sister gets irked out on that. I don't mind it whatsoever.
She doesn't like holes.
You know what she doesn't like? When it's like the holes and there's something inside of the hole or something like. You show my sister a papaya, she freaks out.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I have friends like that too. Two of my friends, they're cousins. They hate it. Yeah. Like that episode. I remember because again, I watch every other season of American Horror Story. Not this past season, but the season before with the. Yeah. It was two of the worst fears: clowns and holes. Like the season was about clowns. It was like about killer clowns. And the girl, she's really famous now. She was in that movie, the new movie that came out with. I think it was the sequel to Split. It just came out. You know what I'm talking about?
The older woman, lesbian?
Yeah, Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson.
She had the fear of holes.
Oh, she had the fear of holes?
So through that whole season, I called my friend, and when I saw my friend, I was like, dude, what'd you feel about that? He goes, dude, I could not fucking watch certain episodes because she was looking at holes and freaking me out.
I don't mind it. It's a mental thing.
Beehives, people they fucking freak out. They shit their pants when they see beehives.
Really?
Because of the holes in the beehives. Yeah, but I don't know how the hell we got on that topic.
I don't know. But speaking about TV shows, this is one of the things I wanted to bring up. 90's cartoon shows and the subliminal messaging behind the shows. There's one thing that I want to bring up that stuck with me. The fact that this was a thing irks me to this day.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
The Red and Stimpy episode.
Let
me explain this. It was one scene in a Red and Stimpy episode where Red is bent over, and he has a log on his ass. Why? I don't know. Okay. Stimpy comes up behind him with a saw attached to his waist. Okay. Now I don't know if you know how saws work, but I've never seen a saw that has a freaking waist strap attached to it. But apparently for this show, it's attached to his waist.
To his
implementing that it's like right in that area, general area.
Okay.
He gets behind Red, and he starts to cut the piece of wood that's on his ass. Basically implementing sex. Like he's thrusting. Now you think, this is bad enough. I'm not done.
It gets worse.
It gets worse.
Okay.
After that act, after he finishes, quote unquote finishes, the wood that he cut like sprays in the air and falls right back down on Red's ass. Like implementing like ejaculate.
Yeah.
Like, you know the mulch when you cut wood? Like those little pieces? It just goes and it just lands on his back. Not finished. This is the best part. This is the part that I don't know how people who watch this weren't scarred. But his metal saw, okay, made out of freaking pure metal that can't bend in any way, shape, or form. After that's done, it falls down.
Limp.
Like, it falls limp. Like implementing a flaccid penis after. And it makes me sit here and think, what were the writers thinking? This is a kid's show.
You know
this is not sick.
Yeah.
This is just an example though, but think about it. It's like, all jokes aside, kids were watching this. It's okay. Like later on, when you grow up and you realize what the hell you're watching, you analyze it from an adult perspective.
When you're a kid, you don't notice this shit.
You don't understand that.
You're like,
which makes it even creepier because it's like the adults were making these shows.
Yeah.
What were you trying to like? What message were you trying to send to like little kids watching the show?
I guess I always think of it this way. I always feel like maybe the reason they did that was because I don't know. I feel like maybe because I guess maybe they thought, okay,
to cater to adults.
To cater to adults.
No,
because they think the adults get it. The adults.
No one, but you understand that adults weren't really watching. I can't speak for other people, but I know that was a kids show.
Yeah.
Adults weren't really watching that. The reason why we know this exists is because the people like you and me who grew up watching these shows analyzed what the hell they were watching as kids and brought it to everyone's attention.
Yeah.
You understand? If my parents didn't know what the hell was going on in these shows, you know what I'm saying? Like they weren't watching it. It's when you bring it up that people go, "Oh my God." Come to think of it, a lot of these scenarios were happening in a bunch of shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And not only that, there was a lot more. Like we talked about Rocco's Modern Life. He was a phone sex operator.
Oh baby. That was, what the hell was that about?
I have no. And it's funny because a lot of people always thought even Matt and Sarah, they're always like, nah, what are you talking about? But then you look back and you see the sign on his wall. It says like be courteous, be cute, be sexy, or something like that.
It's
like a weird. And then you're like,
I'm like, yo, kids are watching.
Yeah. And then there's like the episode where Grandpa watches porn after like Tommy and Chucky go to bed.
Oh no, the Space Vixens.
Lonely Space Vixens. But that's after you guys go to bed.
It's like this for Grandpa. You guys go to bed.
And it's like a sexy alien on the cover too. Remember?
A bunch of them. There were like I think 3 of them if I remember correctly. They're all posed
it's like an orgy movie that like Grandpa likes to watch. I don't know.
It was a porno. It was a porno. Grandpa was going to town when the kids went to bed. That's but speaking about that, it's like how did he get away with it? Tommy was the type of kid that you put him to bed, he's always gonna find a way how to get out of his crib and go on an adventure throughout the house.
You never saw Grandpa Jack in it.
Oh my God. That's probably like a behind the scenes, like they cut that out. He walks in, Grandpa's like, oh yeah.
Come on, Sprout. Thank God they're sleeping.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's like, oh my God. You had a lot of those, man. There was a lot of those like
SpongeBob. Do you remember the SpongeBob episode? That quick episode where the scene, it starts off where he's sitting in his living room and he's watching.
Yeah, that like weird...
I think it was like coral moving around or something like that.
And it has like that really porno
like
music.
Pornographic. Yeah, and then Gary comes in. And then he's like, Gary! He turns on, like, what is it, like football or something? Yeah. I was just watching the game, Gary. I'm like, okay, first of all, if he's your pet, why do you care?
Yeah, word.
But that made you think, like, what was he watching?
Then again, could not do the deed in front of Eli, because it's weird when he's looking at you.
I understand. Yeah, well, of course. I mean,
I don't know if I'm the only one, but like, there's a lot of sick pets out there, so I don't know if they like to,
I don't have pets, so I can't really say how I would feel in that scenario. But apparently SpongeBob felt really awkward doing so.
There was a lot. Also, there was what was that other one too? I had another one in my head. There was a few, man. There was like the Hey Arnold episode too, where like I think he finds the diary of his dad, and like his grandpa's reading it to him. And like,
I didn't watch Hey Arnold as much.
Really?
Growing up, I hated Hey Arnold.
Why?
I don't know why. It was one of those shows that I couldn't stand. There was always those shows in the night that I couldn't stand. Like I love Rugrats.
Okay.
To this day, if I catch it on TV somehow, I'll sit down and watch it. I'll be like, yeah, why not? Hey Arnold irritated me. I don't know why. Maybe it was the characters, here we go, irritated the shit out of me.
For the longest time, I never knew the theme song of Hey Arnold. I always thought like I never understood what the hell they were saying in the beginning.
Yeah, no, it was here we go, and then it's Arnold. And then stupid.
Helga was like Helga had that weird like. Oh, by the way,
she hated him, but then she was in love with him secretly.
She was like psychotically in love, but that's
she was. I'm
about to bring that up. Yeah, she was a woman. Like a teenage woman, so she gets away with it. But here's the thing that I wanted to bring up for that scene.
Yeah.
So his grandpa's reading him the diary.
Okay.
And then like I think his dad detailed like every part of his goddamn life. So like he detailed the part. Now he meets his mom. He meets Arnold's mom.
Okay.
And like they're in like a tent, and like he detailed him banging her, but like
he's like
grandpa stopped. He was like, oh, go get the what was it?
He's like,
get the food.
It's like, Arnold, this is where your father deflowered your mother.
Yeah. I mean, basically, that's what his grandpa was like, go and get the food. And also, he goes, okay, grandpa rips that part out of the book. He hides it.
Yeah,
Mind you, also, grandpa, did you ever notice the grandpa in Hey Arnold has a dick?
I was just about to say that.
Balls for his chin.
It's basically like that. Like, it just kind of sneaks in.
Yeah.
It blends into his face.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a freaking penis. He's got, like, who? First of all, and it's funny, like, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the internet, that would have
flew by somebody's
head.
By,
because think about it. Why the hell is the back of his head pointy?
Yeah.
You never thought of that as a kid.
Like, it's a boil?
Yeah, like, what's going on? Did he injure himself? Is that a permanent injury or something?
Yeah.
And then you see it, and you see a meme, and the person just draws out the outline, and you're like, well, that's a dick and balls.
Right on your head, buddy.
Right on your head.
And then there was
He's a dickhead.
He really is.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a horrible pun. Jesus Christ.
But then you had also Helga going back to her psychotic ways of stalking Arnold and like cutting out his hair and weird shit.
Yeah.
And then you had that scene where she's writing poetry, and then she says like, "You make my girlhood tremble."
Oh my god, dude.
What the you're like, and then you know, again, you don't think about it as a kid. You're like, yeah, okay.
Because but you know why?
Like,
because
what did you just say?
You know why? Because you have an innocent mentality. You don't have the the worldly experience of that yet, so it just completely blows over your head.
Oh my!
Growing up, looking back at it, you're like, there was a lot of sexual innuendos
in these cartoons.
Yeah,
there was one. I don't know if you like. Did you like the Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah, kind of.
I was a fan. I'm gonna be honest.
Sugar, spice, everything nice. Yeah, I fucking love
Professor
it.
Utonium. Yeah. And then like
Mojo Jojo.
Oh god, yeah. And he always referred to himself in third person. Hey, Mojo Jojo. And he's
the mayor and his wife.
Or his hot like secretary.
So like you never saw her face.
She was hot though. Okay?
But they never showed her face.
They never showed her face. They did one episode. She was really hot.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And then, but like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty sure a lot of boys did the deed to Miss Belton.
I wouldn't blame her. She had nice thighs.
She did have nice.
She had nice legs. That was.
I remember in Powerpuff Girls also. There was one episode where they had a friend come over.
Yeah.
And like, again, he was like, oh, like I think it was a girl. She came over. And they introduced Professor Utonium to her, and they were like, "Oh yeah, hi, this is our dad," and like Bubbles goes,
"I know where you're going with this."
Bubbles tells her, "Oh, yeah, he created us. We were accidents," and she goes,
"So
Don't
was
worry, my parents tell me I was an accident too. And then like you're like, oh, okay. You're as a kid you're laughing, and then now you're like, wait, what? This girl was like,
wow,
this girl
you were a mistake, little girl.
Oh my god.
Speaking about Powerpuff Girls, you know that
it got rebooted?
No, not rebooted. It got rebooted?
Yeah, it's a piece of shit though. It's not even the same voice.
Well,
actors.
of course it isn't.
Yeah.
But you know that that villain that they have, him.
Oh yeah.
You know that that's supposed to be a tranny.
I always figured it was
like he's a cross dresser or something like that. Think about it, like he's a guy, but he's wearing like women's clothing. He's like, oh
yeah. And he always had that weird
yeah, he was wearing that weird fucking devilish laugh. I think he was.
That was supposed to be a tranny.
That was supposed to be like at least a minimum cross dresser. Like.
Oh yeah, and then you had that little bitchy girl. Remember the one that wanted to be a Powerpuff Girl? I forgot her name. Her name was Princess or something. She always wanted to be a Powerpuff Girl. She bought she was like her dad was rich. And she used to always bitch to her dad, like, "Oh, you never get me what I want." He just throws money at her, and then like she buys powers.
She buys powers.
Yeah, like she. I think she had like somebody create powers for. I don't know. It was a weird episode, and like she always wanted to be a. Remember when they had like. I apologize for everybody right now, but remember when they created, the Powerpuff Girls created another Powerpuff Girl that was their sister, and she was like mentally retarded.
Oh my god!
Do you remember that episode?
No.
Yeah, and then at the end she blew up.
She blew up.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, god! But it's just a funny episode.
That probably would not be able to air now.
No.
In the world we live in now, that would be considered offensive. They'd be like, "Oh my god, you guys are just blowing up retarded kids." That's
like it was fucked up because the girl was like, she was like, "Oh, Powerpuff Girls," like she couldn't speak. My god. And it was like, they created her. They loved her.
Did they? Wait. I want to ask you a question. Did they purposely blow her up?
No, she blew up because I think her molecules were failing.
Up.
I think her molecules were failing.
Oh my god!
It was a fucked up episode. I felt so bad because
it's sad. I'm like sad now just listening to this. Was that supposed to be comedic?
I mean, I think
a mentally incapable girl, and then she blows up in the end. Oh, good, happy ending. What the hell is wrong with the show?
I mean, yeah, it was a dark. It was not only that, but also there was dark episodes. Do you remember like that weird girl? She was like Medusa, I think her name was. She was like really sexual in the show.
No, I'm telling
she would sexualize like she was. Remember she dressed up as Miss Bellum one time, and she was like seducing the mayor, and she seduced Professor Utonium.
I'm telling you,
like her hair was like snakes. It was Medusa, like the actual god of like.
The theme of these shows were not kid friendly.
They were not at all.
And they got away with it because kids didn't know what the hell they were watching.
No. And I think a lot of it, like nowadays too, if you think about it, right? The thing is, a lot of shows, they lack that. Like there's shows on now. Like I'm now just switch from the 90s to now. We'll go back to the 90s in a bit, but to switch back. Nowadays, there's no shows that are good shows, considered good shows. I mean, they keep airing, like, from what I've seen, I don't watch the show, it sucks, but from what I've seen, Teen Titans Go is on, and I heard that sucks.
I wasn't a big fan of any of those things.
I was a fan of the old Teen Titans, but not the new ones. The other thing, the only show that I can genuinely say was a great show in, like, the mid-2000s, which, again, look, I'm in my 20s, but I watched the show with Matt. And it was a great show. I thought there was one show, and I always told you to watch it, but I don't think you have watched it. But it's on Hulu. Regular Show.
Never heard of it.
Really? I brought it up to you a few times.
I think I dozed off when you explained something.
Oh, thanks for listening to me, asshole. No, Regular Show. I'm pretty sure some people out there that are listening. I'm pretty sure that they've watched the show. Regular Show was a show about a blue jay named Mordecai and a raccoon named Rigby.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about.
It was an old school show. Like the animation was old school, which was awesome.
Okay.
And there was so many 90s things in this show. There was VCRs, video games. They were like the Nintendo 64 or Atari.
But you just said it came. That's when it came out. So of course.
No, it didn't. It came out in the mid to. It came out in 2000. I think the first season actually was 2010.
Oh, okay. So basically, they were just trying to kind of pay homage to like certain.
Yeah,
things.
They were paying homage to all these things, and now the thing is though, the show is so good because the writer, the creator, J.G. Quintel, was a 90s kid.
Well, of course, yeah.
So a lot of and there was so many jokes though in that show that they got away with that you start to think of. Like there was one I still remember.
What channel was it on?
Cartoon Network. It was on Cartoon Network.
Okay.
And that was the last great show with Adventure Time. With Adventure Time though, I always felt that you need to get really high as balls to watch it because there was a lot of weird shit talking. Don't get me wrong, Regular Show was weird as well because they had a lot of like animals talking. And there's like a gumball machine talking to shit. It was the thing was though, here's the thing. the show was so good is because, and I realized, I looked it up because I wanted to see what the demographic of regular show was. People in their late teens to early to mid 20s watched regular show, even 30s. There was a demographic to that too, because of how well written in like the 90s it was written. Like it was written like a 90s TV cartoon.
Okay.
It was so good. I still remember there was one innuendo that passed and it was hilarious, but it was like a split second. So if you didn't pay attention, you'd miss it. There was an episode where they put in a movie. And in the movie, when Rigby, the raccoon's putting in the movie, the VCR... Remember the VCR always had a clock?
Yeah.
The VCR was stuck at 420.
Oh, my God.
So it was... there was that. Yeah.
So like
little things like that.
For all the pot smokers out there.
For the 420 pot smokers.
Yeah.
There was also another one where they're going through... Because, again, they're always like... In the show, Mordecai and Rigby always fucked shit up, and they had to fix it, and they wound up fixing it and becoming heroes. But the Gumball Machine Benson was their like the park manager because they worked at a park.
Oh,
was the premise of the show. They worked at a park. They had boring lives, so they would always goof off and get shit mess shit up basically. Okay. So like I remember there was one episode where they were going to get a garage door. Mind you, this was like strenuous for them. So Rigby was there, Mordecai, Benson, the Gumball Machine, and Pops. Pops was a human, but he was a lollipop, a humanoid lollipop. So they're going through like the department store. It's a huge department store. Mind you, there's that old guy from like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was there, like when you have to pick the Holy Grail.
Oh, okay.
So he's there, and they're going through trials, and there was one trial where it was a guy who was a creature that was made of nuts and bolts.
Okay.
So he's like, I am the keeper of the bolts, and he goes, and the nuts, and they start going, they start laughing.
Jesus Christ.
So it's like, they have like stupid things like that.
Like you said yourself. Adults were also watching it, so I guess it's like
they watched it with their kids.
Wasn't it on Adult Swim?
No, it was on primetime Cartoon Network. It was on
primetime.
They would do it at 7:00 every Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well that's considered.
But there was there was guns, like everything. Now here's the thing, though. I feel like because nowadays kids are so what is the word? They're so desensitized. Desensitized. This passes. But here's the thing. It's like with that, it was like such a great show because of that. So like they can get away with shooting guns.
Yeah.
The show ended. Don't get me wrong. I was upset that it ended. I mean, like the new Cartoon Network, higher ups suck ass. And like they ended the show, but I remember they ended the show using David Bowie's "We Could Be Heroes" song at the end.
Okay.
So like I like it because they always put in old school music. Like they played an episode where, Mordecai and Rigby were like the whole park gang were at they were at like a karaoke spot, and Pops, the son of the owner of the park, he was singing Footloose. There was Forever Young. There was like a bunch of songs.
Okay.
Like, Forever Young, like that song. I'm not gonna sing because I suck, but there was that was the only good show. Again, he made the way that show spawned. I'm gonna tell how like a quick one before we get back to the topic.
Yeah.
The way the show spawned, regular show, was actually by like kind of by accident, but I guess, or then again, J.G. Quintel really thought of this ahead of time. He created a show. A quick little video because he was in art school.
Yeah.
Created a video called what the hell was it called? 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. in 3 a.m. in the 3 p.m. I forgot the name. It was like in the 3 in the a.m. p.m.
Okay.
That was the name of it. So it was about two guys working at a candy convenience store, which I think he got most of his references from Clerks because it was like two guys working at a convenience store.
Okay.
They're working together. They're bored as shit. It's Halloween. All of a sudden, the guy who J.G. Quintel was voicing at the time, it was like it looked just like him, long hair. So I'm thinking he probably smoked a lot of pot back in the day and did a lot of drugs to get these like thoughts.
Yeah.
The guy with him who was doing the voices, he met him in college. He's also was on regular show. He was the voice of the Gumball Machine and a couple other characters.
Okay.
Mark Hamill was also on that show, on regular show. Mm-hmm. So it was about them working. They were bored as shit. The guy who J.G. Quintel, the creator of the little skit, who created regular show, he's like, dude, here, take this, eat this. The guy eats it. It was acid in the candy. Now, both of them are tripping balls through the whole like video. They're tripping. They're turning into different characters. All of a sudden, J.G. Quintel turns into Mordecai, and the guy
basically going back and forth. Yeah,
and he turns into Benson.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh shit! Like I rewatched. I'm like, oh shit, that's Benson and Mordecai, like from regular show. So I'm assuming he probably got that from there. And they just went along with it after.
Yeah.
So like it's crazy to think like he was a 90s kid. And he said he's like, I really love the 90s. This is why I wanted to make a show with 90s references because I was a 90s baby.
Yeah.
So growing up, it was kind of that. So like a lot of great things came out of like nowadays. Again, it's not as good, but at the same time, it's really good. Like, there's some shows that came out now. It's also in the rough patch, but there were shows like Regular Show, Adventure Time that really, I guess resembled 90s.
Yeah, they kind of like stuck with that kind of genre and the stuff that they went through. Yeah,
exactly.
How about movies? What's your favorite movie when it comes to
like a 90s movie?
Yeah. Speaking about horror 90s movies, I want to talk about horror movies.
Oh yeah.
And just the downright cliches.
Oh yeah, all the time.
In them. As we mentioned earlier, the whole setup was always the same.
Always the same shit. Scream. Let's take an example of Scream.
But you know that Scream was supposed to be a comedy apparently.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't aware of. I thought it was like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, you guys did a pretty good job with the comedy thing because that movie was so stupid.
I mean, there was a lot of stupid pieces in that movie, and not only that, but yeah, no. If I had to go like horror movie in the 90s, would definitely be Scream.
For me, it was Michael Myers. Obviously it started in the 70s, Halloween. But just in the 90s, like it just kept, the whole trend kept continuing in general.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
They're all the same. It's always the same thing, and for some reason, we all get hooked up on it.
Yeah,
it's the setup. It's the virgin nice girl. It's the jock. It's the nice guy who's always the bravest one in the group.
Yeah.
The person of color.
Of course.
If it's not like a black person, it's an Asian.
Very
rarely it's like a Spanish person.
Very rare. Yeah, you're right.
And then the whore. And she's the one that always gets killed first.
Yeah, all the time.
These movies are always trying to implement the idea that...
the shock and the whore get killed first.
Yeah, it's like they're always trying to implement that if you have sex before marriage, you're dead.
You're dead.
Have you ever realized that? No, virgin was always the one that survived.
Always.
And the whore was always the one that got killed first.
But can we all just acknowledge here, me and you being in the same room?
What?
Who got the worst death was always the minority. Let's be real.
No, I don't think so. No, I've seen some movies where the jock and the slut got the worst. Remember, have you ever watched, I think it's Jason Goes to Hell?
One of those shitty, like, spin-offs? Yeah.
It was when I think they were, the group of people, they were all camping, and obviously the jock and his girlfriend, little cheerleader, pretty girl, they go into the tent to have sex.
Oh,
and she's riding him, having a good time, and what does he do? He takes an axe and just cuts through the tent and slices her in half.
Well, that's just over the top 90s bullshit.
Just to the complete dismay of the jock, who was like just covered in the girl's blood. He's like, holy shit. That's a horrible way to finish. No pun intended.
I mean, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, you remember Jason X? That was even worse. When he was in space.
Oh my god. What was the point of that film? Do you remember a scene in that movie where I think he puts a girl in a bag and he starts to go back and forth? Like he puts her in a bag and he swings her to the ground. Like he's beating her while she's in the bag. This character started off as like just general horror, and then it came to that.
It became comedy.
It came to him going to space and beating women while putting them in bags, like it was a cartoon.
Yeah.
And don't quote me on it, but I think at one point while he was doing that, you can hear the cartoon noises in the background.
Yeah.
Like boink, boink. Yeah. Who went out of their way to go to the movie theaters and watch this, thinking, I want to get scared tonight, and then watching that?
I mean, there was.
I would have threw my popcorn at the TV at the screen.
There was a lot of. You know what it was? Once you pass, I feel like 3 sequels. Once it's not no longer a trilogy, and it just starts going on.
You say that now. But how many Michael Myers movies have there been? And we're still gonna continue to fucking watch them.
That's true. I mean, the worst.
They recently came up with a new one. What I do? Bought tickets. Went to go watch it with my family.
I heard though. To be fair,
great movie.
Yeah,
great movie. I can't say anything about it. Phenomenal movie. Nothing corny about it. There was some funny parts in it.
Yeah.
But
to be fair, I heard that was supposed to take place after 2. So technically,
what they did,
said fuck you to every other one of those shitty movies, like The Curse of Michael Myers. There was one that he wasn't even in, like when it was just witches.
That was the third one.
Oh god.
By far, why would you even put that into the trilogy or franchise, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Such a stupid idea. Nothing about it. The only thing that resembled him was just the theme song.
Yeah.
The theme song played every once in a while, but it nothing. It wasn't about him whatsoever.
I refuse to watch that.
But speaking about like horror movies, though,
I Know What You Did Last Summer was another great one.
I never watched
with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I never watched it. I think I saw the beginning where Jack Black gets killed, and
when he's like fapping to like the girl on the computer.
That's all I needed to know. I was like, yeah, this is fucking stupid.
There was that one, and then there was also that scene where like, remember when people used to call her Jennifer Love Hewitt tips?
She does have a nice set of rack. I'm not trying to sound like a douchebag. She's a very beautiful woman.
Oh yeah,
she's blessed in that area. Yeah,
that was Matt's 90s celebrity.
Where did she go though? By the way, she just disappeared. Remember when she came out with that song? She sang for a bit.
She did a lot of things. Remember she was
like, what are you doing, dude?
Remember she was in the episode of like Boy Meets World, and then there was Sean.
Oh my god!
The horror episode. I love that episode, and that was my favorite Boy Meets World episode. Yeah. So I remember she used that because she was going out with Will Friedle. She was going out with Eric in real life, and I remember she called her like Jennifer Love Pfefferman.
Jennifer Love Pfefferman.
That was hands down my favorite episode because of like the way Eric was in that. Remember when he gets first introduced after that guy dies with the hat? He's like, he's like Mr. Pooh from South Park.
Yeah.
Mr. Hanky. I'm sorry, Mr. Hanky. Don't roast me, guys.
Yeah, dude.
There was a lot. The commercials in the 90s, I think, were the great. This is like to touch on the last topic for the 90s.
Yeah.
The commercials, I think, were the best. Remember the Yo-Yo Ball?
The Yo-Yo Ball, the Chef Boyardee commercials were my favorite.
Yeah.
It was that one. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like that one kid. I think it was like in the jungle somewhere, like a blonde kid. He was like looking for Chef Boyardee. He finds it, so it's like he has like it all over his face. That's all I remember. For some reason, that commercial just stood out to me.
You know what? You know what's gonna be fun? Remember the Sock and Boppers commercial?
Soccer bopper. More fun than a pillow fight. Oh Jesus!
We still remember that theme song. Remember the moon shoes or something with the trampoline shoes or some shit. I forgot the name of it. Dude. Those commercials were fun. But then again, you ever like notice those? I hated those like certain kids in those commercials. Remember like that little piss poor little kid that used to play like they were playing Sorry and he goes back to start like when he clicks on his eye.
They always over-exaggerated in the acting.
Oh, yeah. They were
overacted. But the kids, what do you expect?
Goosebumps was the worst. Remember the acting in Goosebumps? It was so bad.
Don't you insult Goosebumps.
No.
That was my show.
No, listen.
I'm glad you brought it up. That theme song gets me every time. I fucking love it. As soon as you see the guy with the trench coat walking up, I just get tingles. I'm like, oh my god.
And then he's like, you will beware. You're in for
that was corny, but at the same time, it was like
because I guess that's just the tagline of the books.
Yeah, yeah, it was a tagline of the book. The books.
Oh, you know what's funny? I read like one or two of those because I just watched the show. Because, again, not a big fan of reading. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I was a fan.
Oh, you're gonna judge?
Let me know.
Yeah.
Listen.
Well, you look like you fucking like sat in your room and made experiments when you were younger. So don't even.
Kiss my ass, kid. Those were good books, man. Those were good books. Beware Snowman. I think I still have it.
I read Say Cheese and Die. That was a pretty good one. Say Cheese and Die.
I read that. I read The Barking Ghost.
My favorite one is the one with the puppet.
I love the way R.L. Stine wrote though. It was literally the way he would write is after every page, he would intrigue you to flip the page. After every chapter. You know how some books, it's like you're reading through the book. It's like okay, depending on what the writer wants to say, it's a continuation. But if you paid attention to Goosebumps book, is after every page, something would happen. The last line would intrigue you to be like, well, I can't stop reading now.
I gotta read more. Yeah.
I would literally read like almost more than half of the book on the first day.
That's why 90s kids are so social. Yeah. Because they read and they actually played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they went outside. Like I miss.
Oh my god! Don't bring that up. I miss going outside. I would go outside in front of like the building. And then, like, because I was a big, soccer fan, so I like me and my friends, and sometimes my cousins, and then we would just play soccer outside. And then, my favorite part was like late at night when Mr. Softy would come.
Oh, yeah. They don't even have Mr. Softy here. You know what used to be the best was when like the summer was there and you were a kid.
No, that's when he would
smell of like everything. It just smelled differently.
I want to ask you a question. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember those Snapple Element drinks.
No.
Like rain, sun. I think it was like I need to look it up on my phone. I missed the shit out of that. I remember like my sister and like my cousins, they would go across the street to like the corner store and they would come out, they would buy it. Just the way the bottle looked.
I've never had
it. Was like I always wanted. They discontinued it. Snapple discontinued it, and then I remember I checked a few months ago. It just popped up in my head, and I wanted to check what happened to the drinks because I didn't know Snapple made them.
They always discontinue.
I thought they were random drinks, but apparently they were from the Snapple brand. And then I read apparently you can order it. Ooh. Like they'll make you a special. But I'm like, but just imagine the guy who has to work. Just make it like his boss comes up to him and be like, "Hey, Aaron, listen, I need you to stay overtime." Some jackass from New York ordered a bunch of Element drinks. You gotta stay overtime to make it's a.
Hey, listen, if they're offering that, to each their own. Back in the day, you remember, a lot of 90s kids are gonna remember this. Remember the barrels and they were called barrels or grenades. The ones that cost like 50 cents. Yeah, 25 to 50 cents. Yeah. And it were like,
they still sell those some places.
The one I think like there's a spot.
I know that they sell them from. I haven't been to this. You know the K&T Meat Market.
Yes.
On Broadway.
Yeah, they sell them there.
I haven't been there in a long time, but they always used to be in the corner.
Those were like a lifesaver. When you used to have a hard day of play outside, you go in, you buy like 4 with like $1 because they were 25 cents each. So you'd go in, buy, and then they had. I still remember they had grape, they had cherry,
they had a bunch
blueberry. It was like orange, cherry and blueberry were my favorites.
You remember those ices in the corner stores that they used to sell? Do you remember them?
Yeah.
They used to come in those thin tubes.
Yes. Oh, don't remind me.
Oh my God, we used to get those every day during the summertime.
Those were the
like I wouldn't miss a beat. I would run across the street. I would get that bottle of water. My sister would get those onion rings.
The ones in the bag.
The one in the bags.
Oh yeah.
And we would just scarf those down. I would wait. I would always wait till the thing melted because it would have like the juice inside. You could suck the juice up.
Yeah, I remember they used to be in the clear plastic.
The clear plastic. Those thin clear plastic.
Yeah, they used to buy you could buy sets of those. They still sell them.
What?
Supermarkets. You
Where?
Buy, in like the freezer section.
Oh, shut the hell up!
And they sell them like in
box
buttloads. Yeah, so you could put them in, rip them, and eat them. They're a little bit different because they're just straight up. Because remember the ones you used to buy, the store used to be able to crack into 2. It used to be long.
Depending on them. No, the ones I remember, it was.
I remember the ones
that brand, but the one I used to buy would just be the full one.
Those are the ones they sell at like supermarkets.
Yeah,
you could find those. Yeah.
Remember, I'm so mad they discontinued this because I'm not gonna lie, I'm an adult now. I would still eat this.
What?
Remember those Mickey Mouse lollipops that were shaped like hearts for some reason?
Yes.
I don't understand
cherry, right?
I don't understand the connection to Mickey Mouse and hearts.
Yeah, me neither.
I thought you would open it up and it would look like, Mickey. It was a heart. Yeah. But Mickey Mouse was on the wrapper. I was like, okay, that's just don't care what you're trying to sell. But
no, yeah.
I used to.
And I feel like chocolate in back then too used to taste so much better because they used to wrap. Because I'm a huge fan of. I love chocolate.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big fan of like candy in general. Like I love Pixie Sticks and all that shit. But chocolate's my favorite. I feel like back in the day. Do you remember like?
Why though? Because.
They used to wrap it in foil.
No, it's not even that. They used to put more sugar in it.
No, and they wrapped it in foil.
Think about this way. It's 2019. Everyone wants to be, healthy, vegan, gluten-free bullshit. So even your chocolate's downplayed. Back then, they don't care.
They don't give a shit.
It was basically sugar covered in like just one layer of chocolate. Just like, here you go, eat this. No wonder we were so hyper growing up.
Oh, all the time, dude, all the time. I miss those days, man. It used to be so much fun. Just like, because we used to play, like, back in the day, we used to play, like, my cousins and us, like, when everybody used to be over. It was rare that everybody was together. Yeah. But the days when everybody was together were, like, when my cousins would sleep over and shit. Tag. We used to play, like, tag. And then we used to play hide and seek in the dark. Hide and seek. In the dark. Yeah. It used to be fun. I remember my cousin Neil. My older cousin Neil, he used to always hide, but he always hid, like, cause we used to play in the basement at my grandmother's house, and there used to be like the TV there, so he would hide, like, across the TV, because he was like always in good shape, and he was a tall dude. He would hide like literally facing the TV, because where you would start counting would be base. So if you touched it, you'd be base. And they couldn't tag, like, they couldn't say like, oh, if I found you first, you'd be it first.
Oh,
but if you went base. And let's say everybody made it to base, then the same person would have to count again. Oh, okay. If one person made, like, depending on whoever made it to base, those people were safe, so they couldn't be picked to start trying to find everyone. Yeah. So Neil used to always hide behind like the TV, and then like he'd be so close to base, but like you'd miss it because it's dark. Yeah. And also because you're trying to like look around, you wouldn't think he'd be by the TV. You don't pay attention. He's right there. So he'd be right there. So like 2 seconds later, you'd hear base.
Yeah. Like, you know what I used to do? I don't know what possessed me to do this. It's so illogical. When I would play like hide and seek with whoever, whether it was like my sister, my cousins, my friends, when I would not have a good idea of where I wanted to hide, I would literally hide in a corner out in the open. My logic behind this was, you're going to think I'm stupid, but I was like 5 years old. Don't blame me.
Okay.
My logic was, if I wasn't looking at them, if I wasn't facing them, they can't see me. That was my logic. So I thought crunching down behind like my dresser while my sister was looking for me through the room was a good idea. I'm not gonna lie, sometime it worked.
No,
I'm not even.
I felt like maybe your sister felt bad.
That's
for you.
why. That's
so like, let me not find out there right away.
So that gave me even more confidence to continue to do the sheer
here.
stupidity that I did. Literally, I'd be like, I can't fit anywhere. Everyone has like a good spot to hide. Well. So I'd literally run behind like a counter and just kneel, and I would face the wall. I would dig my face into the wall, thinking they can't see my face. They can't tag me. They can't tag me. That's just the rules. 50% of the time I was tagged.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
And I don't blame.
I'm surprised it was more than.
I'm surprised.
Surprised it wasn't more than 50.
I'm surprised I got away with it. If I got away with it one time, that's all it took for me to be like, what the hell? This works.
Might as well. To close off the argument, I think that not like just people in the 90s. We were late 90s, but we grew up because we had older siblings, so we got to taste the fruits of how was that saying go? How does that saying go?
I have no clue.
I can't think of the saying, but
some of the things you say just confuse you.
I'm trying to be philosophical. Shut up, okay?
It doesn't work out for you some of the times, Aaron.
Yeah. Well,
stick to your level
kiss my ass.
Stick to your level of intelligence.
Why don't you kiss my ass? How about that? I'll show you how to stick my level to intelligence. But going back, it was such a better time, and I feel like, and I really envy the kids that were like the late 80s, but in the early 90s.
You know why I think we think it's a better time? Because we were kids during that time. Life was more simple. We, as a child, like I'm telling you, you have that innocent mindset, so you just find you look at things in a more positive light.
True.
When you're an adult, you have responsibilities. Your emotions kind of just die down as the years go by. You just stop.
You get less and less happy.
I wouldn't say less and less happy, but
you have adult responsibilities.
Yeah,
now.
you have adult responsibilities. Your the things that you find interesting, that you look up to, kind of your things change. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I
clearly
agree.
We're not gonna be running around your block during the summertime playing tag.
That's true. It would look weird.
We would look really weird.
Yeah, well, I think parents are gonna call the cops
on us. Me?
But anyway, guys, if you guys know anything that you enjoy from the 90s that you want to share it with us on Twitter, and on Instagram. Our Instagram is A Gentleman's Guide for Dummies, and our Twitter is also A Gentleman's Guide for Dummies as well. You can find it also with the @ symbol at Gen for Dummies. Also, you can find us, Ante. Where can they find you? On Instagram?
Instagram at Ante_Glavan.
You can find me at Aaron.Busuttil, Bussuttil, for people that are asking how to spell that. But we're definitely going to, what we're going to do is we're going to link our social media there. Also, follow the Instagram follow it for A Gentleman's Guide for Dummies, and our Twitter, and share with us some of your 90s memories. That's it for today, guys. I'm going to close it off. This is Aaron saying peace out, Ante.
Same thing as I always say, peace out and have a great day.
Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.